Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. So, I don't know if you've been paying attention, I don't know, you probably don't read as much as I do. I read so much. But I've been reading and hearing a lot about what is called MAID in Canada, which is medical assistance in dying. Now, in doing research for this segment, I looked up medical assistance in dying into Google, just typed it up, and the first thing that comes up is help is available, or something like that, and big, bold letters, help is available, dial 988, English or Spanish. So probably the entire Western Hemisphere can dial this number, this 3-digit number that's easy to remember, 988. And you can, talk to somebody, and they'll say something like, I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. And so, I mean, seriously, that's what they do. And I'll be honest, people who are really interested in doing that, they're probably not even going to bother giving another human being a second chance. Right before I do it, I'm going to call this hotline, give them a chance to talk me off of it, And so, talk me out of it, so, I mean, it's, that's the first thing that pops up if you research this medical assistance in dying. And so society understands that, suicide should be prevented. We understand that, the first thing that pops up, and then underneath is like, help is available. Underneath that, you got the MAID law in Canada. People are dying. And the whole idea behind this medical assistance in dying is people who are terminal and stuff like that, and it's just going to be nothing but pain for 2 weeks or something like that and they're eventually going to expire. You kind of have an argument for a medical assistance in dying in that regard, but I think that that's wrong also. I think that man propels us and God dispels us. I think that doctors are frequently just another idiot walking this earth. I don't care how long they went to school with. And everywhere I walk on this earth, I see idiots. And, there's tons of people going to college. All right. So doctors are just another idiot. And so, oh, great. EK left us so the lights went up. Hey, Google, turn on lights in Studio A. I may have to get up and get out the door. Google heard me. Okay, the PC's still running. Oh, man. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so, I mean, doctors are idiots. And so doctors, they can make mistakes, and they cannot accurately predict how long it is until you're going to die, nor can they predict how comfortable you'll be or how much pain you'll experience until you die. There's no real accuracy in that kind of quote unquote science. So I don't think anybody should do it. But now this medical assistance in dying is also extending to people with disabilities, people who are depressed, or anyone who says, hey, because I mean, I'm on medication for depression, and if I lived in Canada and I was having a particularly bad week, I might take that option. Especially when I was younger. When I was like 19, 20 years old, holy cow, if that option was available. Because I saw what was coming in my life. I knew what was coming. And I didn't want to face it. And giving that option to teenagers, because 19 years old is still a teenager. I was still a kid at that point. And the last thing a suicidal person needs is somebody telling them, yeah, you should go ahead and kill yourself. That's the last thing they need. And it just irritates me that any government would, I'd rather you ship a pound of marijuana to these people every day for the rest of their lives until they die. Enjoy the lung cancer. Why can't you just do that instead? And there's people who commit suicide without ever trying drugs. That baffles me. I mean, it's like one of the first things I thought of. I grew up Christian, straight edge. I'm never going to drink. I'm never going to take drugs and stuff like that. But I mean, as soon as I start feeling like, well, yeah, I'm kind of going to end it here any second, so I might as well try what's available. And most stuff I didn't like. And so, I mean, it's beer won out, you know. Beer's a solid, beer's solid. You know what I'm saying? It's so, it's funny because, it's not funny. It's sad because, when you're, let's talk about disabilities. The disabilities, if you're blind or deaf or something like that, I understand the world is frustrating. If you're in a wheelchair, I understand you're frustrated. Your dick doesn't work. I get that. I really do. But I don't think that, that the solution is you to end it. Number one, it's like you have to feel like is some value in you that remains. And we know that. Humanity knows that. There is value that remains in a person who is in a wheelchair. They could make you laugh, You could watch them play basketball. They could do amazing things in their wheelchair that you could never even do because you're not forced to be in one all the time. And so, I mean, you got to understand, it's like you're still a person. Even if you have disabilities, you're still a person. You're blind, you're frustrated at the world. I get it. I really do. You feel like you're missing out on like 70%, I guess, of what this new technological era can provide for us. I get it. It can be frustrating, but you still matter. And so I think that, when somebody says that it's okay to do this, it's bad for society. It's how societies collapse. It's how governments collapse, and everyone's just like, hey, suicide's okay. And then boom, everyone starts committing suicide. It reminds me of this quick animated scene that was in Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. And it was a beautiful fall tree with all the colored leaves on it and stuff like that. And then one of the leaves goes, I can't take it anymore. It's all British accents, of course. I can't take it anymore. I can't handle it. Goodbye, cruel world. The leaf breaks off and drifts all the way down to the bottom, And then this other leaf goes, darling, what have you done? Oh, darling, oh, I can't go on. Falls to the ground. Then the third leaf, mommy, no. And then all the leaves fall off the tree. It's a funny little skit that has a lot of meaning to it that Monty Python did. I think it was in The Meaning of Life. But the point of it is that like suicide can cause a chain reaction through a society, because when you take your own life, that impacts far more people than yourself in multiples, exponentially, especially if a lot of people know you. And when I went through that phase in my life, when I wanted to end my life and failed at that, thank God, when I went through that, I found out how many people cared, who would have given a shit, whose lives may have been made sadder by the absence of me. That does not fill me with like, oh, I'm so great or anything, like a sense of ego. That makes me feel like a sense of responsibility to the people who truly care for me. And so it just irritates me if any government or any society or any TV show or anything that says like suicide's okay. Because it's not okay. And the last thing I needed to hear when I was suicidal was, yeah, go ahead and do it. Nobody will miss you. You don't matter enough to society for us to fight for you. I told you I was angry. I might have to clip that just because of the power outage. There's the lights going out. He's trying to be serious. Come on, Google. I can't believe it. I can't believe they heard me. The door's closed.